Have you ever felt like you're always on the sidelines, watching life happen, but never really being part of it? Maybe you have friends, but deep down, you know you're not the one they'd call first, or even second. It's frustrating, isn't it? You're tired of being overlooked, of feeling like the least valuable person in the room. And here's the kicker. No one talks about this. Everyone pretends they're fine. But the truth is, so many of us feel stuck in this invisible role. But what if I told you there's a way to change that? Here's the thing. Being the friend everyone wants around isn't about being the funniest, the smartest, or even the most outgoing. It's about understanding the hidden rules of social dynamics, how respect is earned, how connections are built, and how you can move from the periphery to the center of any group. And no, it doesn't require you to change who you are or become someone you're not. In fact, the secret lies in becoming more of yourself, but in a way that commands attention and respect. So, if you're ready to stop feeling invisible and start being the person people naturally gravitate toward, you're in the right place. In this video, we're going to break down the exact steps you need to take to transform your social life. From practical strategies to mindset shifts, you'll learn how to go from being overlooked to being unforgettable. Let's dive in. You're about to discover a whole new way to connect with the world. Dr. K once shared a story about a patient who came to him desperate to stop being a goober. Now, what does that even mean? Being a goober isn't about lacking friends. It's about feeling like the least valuable friend in the group. You're there, but you're not really there. It's that nagging feeling that if you skipped the next hangout or didn't reply to a group chat, no one would notice. It's not loneliness in the traditional sense. It's more like being stuck on the outskirts of connection, always watching but never quite belonging. Imagine this. You're part of a group, but you're always the one on the periphery. You're invited to events, sure, but you're not the one people are excited to see. You laugh at jokes you don't find funny, you agree to plans you don't enjoy, all because you're terrified of being left out. This is what being a goober feels like. Awkwardness wrapped in a constant fear of rejection. It's like being in a room full of people but still feeling invisible. And let's be honest, that's a tough place to be. The problem with being a goober isn't just the emotional toll, it's the behaviors it creates. People in this position often overcompensate, trying too hard to be liked or needed. They might crack self-deprecating jokes to seem approachable or cling to social groups out of fear of exclusion. But here's the kicker. These behaviors don't gain respect or deepen connections. Instead, they reinforce the very thing they're trying to avoid, being seen as irrelevant. So, how do you break free from this cycle? Well, that's where things start to get interesting. Picture this. It's your birthday, and you've gone all out. That's exactly what this patient did. They spent days planning an elaborate party, cooking special dishes, decorating the space, and making sure every detail was perfect. Invitations were sent, and RSVPs rolled in. But when the big day arrived, no one showed up. Not a single person. Imagine standing there, surrounded by all your hard work, realizing that the people you thought cared didn't even bother to come. The sting of rejection, unbearable. This wasn't just a one-off event. It was a reflection of a deeper pattern. The patient's behavior screamed desperation to keep people close. They would go above and beyond to please others, hoping that their efforts would make them indispensable. But here's the problem. When you try too hard to earn social connection, it often backfires. People sense the imbalance, and instead of appreciating the effort, they pull away. It's not fair, but it's human nature. What's fascinating is how this behavior is rooted in fear. Fear of rejection, fear of being forgotten, fear of not belonging. And yet, the very actions meant to prevent rejection, like overextending yourself or clinging to others, end up reinforcing it. It's a vicious cycle, one that leaves you feeling more isolated and awkward than ever. But here's the thing. This isn't about blaming yourself. It's about recognizing the patterns and understanding that there's a way out. So, what's really going on beneath the surface? At first glance, you might think this kind of behavior stems from something clinical, maybe social anxiety or a personality disorder. But as Dr. K dug deeper into his patient's story, it became clear this wasn't about pathology. It was about something far more common: low self-esteem, a lack of social skills, and a fragile sense of connection. The patient wasn't broken. They were simply caught in a web of behaviors designed to avoid rejection, but that ultimately pushed people away. Think about it. When you're terrified of being excluded, you start to act in ways that scream insecurity. You might make self-deprecating jokes to seem less threatening or overextend yourself to prove your worth. These are what we call non-respect-gaining behaviors. They don't build social respect or deepen relationships. They just make you seem, well, desperate. And desperation, unfortunately, is a social repellent. It's like trying to hold onto sand. The tighter you grip, the more it slips away. The real issue here is that these behaviors are rooted in a misunderstanding of social dynamics. Connection isn't about proving your worth through effort or humor. It's about authenticity and mutual respect. But when you're stuck in this cycle, it's hard to see that. You're too busy trying to avoid the pain of exclusion to realize that your actions are keeping you on the social periphery. So, how do you shift from clinging to climbing? The answer lies in understanding the difference between attachment and ascension. When you're stuck in attachment behaviors, your main goal is survival. Just staying in the group, no matter what. You might laugh at jokes that aren't funny, agree with opinions you don't believe in, or avoid conflict at all costs. These actions might keep you from being excluded, but they don't earn you respect or a central position in the group. You're not climbing the social ladder. You're clinging to the bottom rung, hoping no one notices how insecure you feel. On the other hand, ascension behaviors are about growth and differentiation. Instead of blending in, you focus on standing out in meaningful ways. This could mean demonstrating expertise in something you're passionate about or strengthening your connections with individuals rather than trying to impress the whole group. People respect those who bring value, whether it's through skills, insights, or even just being a great listener. Ascension isn't about being flashy. It's about being authentic and confident in what you bring to the table. The key difference is this: attachment is rooted in fear, while ascension is rooted in self-efficacy. When you're attached, you're constantly worried about losing your place. But when you focus on ascension, you shift your energy toward building strong connections and earning respect naturally. It's not about forcing people to like you. It's about becoming someone they genuinely want to be around. So, how do you start climbing instead of clinging? It begins with broadening your social horizons. One of the first steps to breaking free from the goober trap is to expand your social network. Relying too heavily on one group can make you feel trapped, especially if you're not valued as much as you'd like. Instead, start meeting new people. Join a hobby group, attend community events, or even reconnect with old acquaintances. Weak connections, like a casual coworker or someone you meet at a workshop, might not seem important at first, but they can grow into strong connections over time. The more diverse your network, the less dependent you'll feel on one specific group for validation. The magic of social connection lies in repeated interactions. Think about it. The people you feel closest to are often the ones you see regularly. So, take those weak connections and nurture them. Invite someone for coffee, follow up after a casual conversation, or simply show genuine interest in their life. Strengthening bonds with individuals on the periphery of your social circles can lead to deeper, more meaningful relationships. And here's the bonus. When you invest in these smaller connections, you naturally become more central in their lives, which builds your confidence and social respect. One of the most underrated social skills is the ability to connect people. When you introduce to people who share common interests or help someone find a resource they need, you position yourself as a valuable intermediary. This isn't about manipulation, it's about creating value for others. Over time, people will start to see you as a hub in their network, someone who brings people together. And guess what? That's a position of social respect and centrality. So, instead of clinging to one group, focus on building bridges between people and watch your social influence grow. Self-deprecating humor might seem harmless, or even charming, but it often sends the wrong message. When you constantly make jokes at your own expense, you're signaling to others that you don't take yourself seriously. And if you don't respect yourself, why should they? Instead of cracking jokes about your awkwardness or failures, try reframing your humor in a way that highlights your strengths. For example, instead of saying, "I'm terrible at this," say, "I'm still figuring this out, but I'm getting better." It's a small shift, but it changes how people perceive you and how you perceive yourself. People gravitate toward those who bring value, and one of the best ways to do that is by showcasing your expertise. Whether it's a skill, a hobby, or a unique perspective, don't shy away from sharing what you're good at. Yes, some people might feel threatened, but that's not your problem, it's theirs. Confidence isn't arrogance, it's simply owning what you bring to the table. For instance, if you're great at organizing events, offer to help plan a group outing. If you have a knack for solving problems, step up when someone needs advice. The key is to let your actions speak louder than your insecurities. At the heart of most negative behaviors is the fear of rejection. But here's the thing. People respect authenticity far more than perfection. Instead of trying to please everyone, focus on being genuine. If you don't agree with something, say so respectfully. If you're passionate about a topic, share your thoughts without worrying about judgment. Authenticity is magnetic. It draws people in because it's rare and refreshing. And as you embrace this mindset, you'll notice something incredible. The more you respect yourself, the more others will respect you too. Social dynamics are not random. They follow patterns, and one of the most fascinating is the concept of centrality. In simple terms, people who hold central positions in social networks, those who are well-connected and act as intermediaries, tend to be more respected and valued. This idea is supported by concepts like IG, vector centrality, which measures how influential someone is within a group. Think of it like this. The more connections you have, and the more you bridge gaps between people, the more central you become. And centrality isn't just about popularity. It's about being seen as someone who adds value to the group. Here's a surprising insight from a 2024 study. How you see yourself directly impacts how others see you. This is called self-efficacy, the belief in your ability to succeed in specific situations. When you carry yourself with confidence and believe in your worth, people pick up on that energy. On the flip side, if you're constantly doubting yourself or acting as though you don't belong, others will mirror that perception. It's a psychological feedback loop, and the good news is that you can break it by changing how you view yourself. Another key finding in social science is the power of repeated interactions. Think about your closest friends. They're likely people you've spent a lot of time with. This isn't a coincidence. Repeated positive interactions build trust, familiarity, and connection. So, if you want to strengthen your social bonds, focus on showing up consistently. Attend events, follow up with people, and make an effort to stay in touch. Over time, these small actions add up, moving you from the periphery to the center of your social circles. If you want to break free from the cycle of feeling overlooked, the first step is to step outside your comfort zone. Join new groups, attend events, or sign up for a class you've always been curious about. The goal isn't to instantly make best friends, but to expose yourself to fresh opportunities for connection. For example, if you're into fitness, try joining a local running club. If you're more creative, look for art workshops or book clubs. Meeting new people expands your network and gives you a chance to practice social skills in a low-pressure environment. Becoming a social hub doesn't require grand gestures. It's often the small, thoughtful actions that matter most. Try organizing a casual get-together, like a coffee meet or a game night. Invite people from different circles and watch how connections naturally form. Not only does this position you as someone who brings people together, but it also strengthens your relationships with those you invite. Plus, it's a great way to practice being in a central role without feeling overwhelmed by the pressure of a large event. Sometimes, the most impactful changes come from focusing on one person at a time. Instead of trying to win over an entire group, invest in individual relationships. Send a thoughtful message, remember someone's birthday, or simply ask how they're doing. These small gestures build trust and deepen bonds. Over time, these stronger one-on-one connections can ripple outward, naturally pulling you into a more central position within your social circles. Remember, it's not about quantity, it's about quality. Breaking free from the feeling of being a goober isn't about changing who you are. It's about changing how you approach social dynamics. By addressing the behaviors that keep you stuck on the periphery and adopting strategies that build respect and connection, you can transform your place in any group. It's not about being the loudest or the most popular. It's about becoming someone people genuinely value and want around. And the best part, these changes are entirely within your control. Now, let me ask you this. Are you ready to stop feeling invisible and start being the friend everyone wants to have? Imagine how different your life could look if you applied even a fraction of what we've discussed. What would it feel like to walk into a room and know you belong there? To have people reach out to you, not because they feel obligated, but because they genuinely enjoy your presence. That's the kind of transformation we're talking about here. So, what's your next step? Will you start by joining a new group, organizing a small gathering, or simply reaching out to someone you've lost touch with? Whatever it is, take action today. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. This is just the beginning of your journey, and there's so much more to learn about building confidence, mastering social skills, and creating the life you deserve. Let's do this together.